Tiaras have long been symbols of royal elegance and power, often passed down through generations or gifted to mark significant occasions. However, throughout history, several of these glittering treasures have mysteriously disappeared, whether lost, stolen, or hidden away from the public eye. In our today's video, we would delve into the stories of 10 of the most notable missing tiaras. 10. The Hanoverian Floral Tiara was part of the British royal family's jewelry collection, having been inherited by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. It originated in the early 19th century as part of the Hanoverian royal family's jewelry collection in Germany. The tiara features a delicate floral design with diamond-encrusted flowers and leaf motifs. In 2016, the Hanoverian Floral Tiara went missing from the Royal Collection storage facilities. An extensive investigation was launched, but the tiara's whereabouts remain unknown as of August 2023. There are ongoing efforts by the royal family and authorities to locate the missing tiara, which is considered an important historical artifact. The Royal Collection continues to catalog its holdings and review security protocols to prevent any further losses of significant royal jewels and artifacts. 9. The Savoy Wedding Tiara was a grand tiara that belonged to the Savoy royal family of Italy. It was created in the late 19th century and featured an elaborate design with diamond-encrusted floral and scroll motifs. The tiara was passed down through the Savoy royal lineage and was often worn by brides of the family for their wedding ceremonies. After the fall of the Italian monarchy in 1946, the Savoy Wedding Tiara became part of the private collection of the Savoy royal family. In 1978, the tiara was sold at auction by the Savoy family to an anonymous buyer for a then-record price of $1.6 million. The tiara disappeared from public view after its auction sale in 1978. The new owner's identity was never publicly revealed, and the tiara's whereabouts remained unknown for decades. In 2017, the Savoy Wedding Tiara unexpectedly resurfaced when it was offered for sale again at a Sotheby's auction in Geneva. The tiara was purchased by an anonymous buyer for $12.7 million, setting a new world record price for a tiara at auction. The current owner and location of the Savoy Wedding Tiara remains unknown to the public. 8. The Baden Fringe Tiara was part of the jewelry collection of the Grand Duchy of Baden, a former state of the German Empire. It was created in the mid-19th century and featured a classic fringe design, with a row of diamond drops hanging from a diamond band. The tiara was passed down through the generations of the Baden royal family. After the fall of the German monarchy in 1918, the Baden Fringe Tiara became part of the private collection of the former Grand Ducal family. In 1966, the tiara was sold at auction by a member of the Baden dynasty to an anonymous buyer. Following the 1966 auction, the Baden Fringe Tiara vanished from public view, and its whereabouts were unknown for decades. There were no confirmed sightings or information about the tiara's location during this period. In 2012, the Baden Fringe Tiara unexpectedly reappeared when it was put up for auction again by Sotheby's in Geneva. The tiara was purchased by a private collector for over $12 million, setting a new auction record for a historic royal tiara. The Baden Fringe Tiara remains in the possession of the private collector, who purchased it in 2012. The current owner's identity has not been publicly disclosed, and the tiara has not been seen in public since the 2012 auction. 7. The Lobkowicz Tiara was part of the jewelry collection of the Lobkowicz noble family, one of the oldest aristocratic families in the Czech lands. The tiara was created in the late 19th century and featured an elaborate design with diamond-encrusted scrollwork and floral motifs. It was considered an important heirloom of the Lobkowicz dynasty. The Lobkowicz Tiara remained in the possession of the Lobkowicz family throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. After the communist takeover in Czechoslovakia in 1948, the Lobkowicz family's properties and assets were nationalized, including the family's art collections and jewelry. For several decades, the whereabouts of the Lobkowicz Tiara were unknown. In the 1990s, after the fall of communism, the Lobkowicz family began efforts to recover their confiscated property and artifacts. In 1996, the Lobkowicz Tiara was located and repatriated to the family's ownership after lengthy legal proceedings. The Lobkowicz Tiara remains in the possession of the Lobkowicz family in the Czech Republic. The family has carefully preserved and displayed the historic tiara as part of their recovered art and artifact collection. The The Lobkowicz Tiara is considered an important cultural treasure and symbol of the family's noble heritage. 6. Teck Palmette Tiara. The Teck Palmette Tiara was part of the jewelry collection of the Teck branch of the House of Württemberg, a German royal dynasty. It was created in the late 19th century and featured an elegant palmette, fan-shaped, design with diamond and pearl elements. The tiara was considered an important heirloom of the Teck family. In 1917, following the abdication of the German monarch, the Teck Palmette Tiara became part of the private collection of Princess Mary, Duchess of Teck. After Princess Mary's death in 1953, the tiara was inherited by her daughter, Princess Mary, Countess of Harewood. In the 1970s, the Teck Palmette Tiara disappeared from public view after the death of Princess Mary, Countess of Harewood. The tiara's whereabouts remained unknown for several decades, and there were no confirmed sightings or information about its location. In 2018, the Teck Palmette Tiara unexpectedly resurfaced when it was offered for auction by Sotheby's in Geneva. The tiara was purchased by an anonymous buyer for over $6 million, setting a new auction record for a Teck family jewel. The new owner's identity and the current location of the Teck Palmette Tiara have not been publicly disclosed. The tiara's rediscovery and sale at auction have renewed interest in the history and provenance of this important German royal heirloom. 5. The Greville Tiara. The Greville Tiara was part of the personal jewelry collection of Dame Margaret Greville, a British socialite and philanthropist. The tiara was created in the early 20th century and featured an intricate honeycomb design with diamond and pearl elements. It was considered one of the most impressive tiaras in Dame Greville's extensive jewelry collection. After Dame Greville's death in 1942, the Greville Tiara became part of the royal collection when it was bequeathed to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother frequently wore the tiara to state events and formal occasions throughout her reign. In 2002, the Greville Tiara unexpectedly vanished from the royal collection's storage facilities. An extensive investigation was launched, but the tiara's whereabouts remained unknown for over a decade. In 2014, the Greville Tiara was rediscovered when it was offered for sale at a private auction by an anonymous seller. The tiara was purchased at auction by an undisclosed buyer for a record-breaking £6 million. The current owner and location of the Greville Tiara have not been publicly revealed. The tiara's disappearance and subsequent rediscovery have added to the mystery and intrigue surrounding this important royal jewel. 4. The Strathmore Rose Tiara. The Strathmore Rose Tiara was part of the personal jewelry collection of the Strathmore family, a prominent Scottish noble family. The tiara was created in the late 19th century and featured a floral design with stylized rose motifs made of diamonds. It was considered one of the most prized possessions of the Strathmore family. After the death of the 14th Earl of Strathmore in 1987, the Strathmore Rose Tiara was inherited by his daughter, Princess Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, the future Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother frequently wore the tiara to state functions and royal events throughout her reign. Upon her death in 2002, the Queen Mother bequeathed the Strathmore Rose Tiara to her granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II. The tiara has since become part of the permanent collection of the British royal family's jewelry. The Strathmore Rose Tiara remains in the possession of Queen Elizabeth II and is occasionally worn by members of the royal family on formal occasions. It is considered one of the most valuable and historically significant tiaras in the royal collection. The tiara is a cherished heirloom that symbolizes the close ties between the Strathmore family and the British monarchy. 3. The Connaught Tiara. The Connaught Tiara was part of the personal jewelry collection of Princess Louise Margaret of Prussia, Duchess of Connaught. It was created in the late 19th century and featured an ornate design with diamond-encrusted floral and scroll motifs. The tiara was considered an important heirloom of the Connaught branch of the British royal family. After Princess Louise's death in 1917, the Connaught Tiara was inherited by her daughter, Princess Patricia of Connaught. Princess Patricia wore the tiara on various formal occasions during her lifetime. In 1981, following Princess Patricia's death, the Connaught Tiara was sold at auction by Sotheby's in London. The tiara was acquired by an anonymous buyer for a record-breaking price at the time. The current owner and location of the Connaught Tiara remain unknown. The tiara's auction sale and disappearance from public view have added to the mystery surrounding this important royal jewel. Scholars and connoisseurs continue to speculate about the whereabouts and potential future public display of the Connaught Tiara. 2. The Romanov Nuptial Tiara. The Romanov Nuptial Tiara was part of the imperial jewelry collection of the Romanov dynasty, the last reigning royal family of Russia. This magnificent tiara was created in the late 19th century and featured a grand, ornate design with diamond and pearl elements. It was intended to be worn by Romanov brides on their wedding days, becoming a cherished symbol of the imperial dynasty. The Romanov nuptial tiara was in the possession of the Romanov family until the Russian Revolution in 1917, when the imperial family was overthrown. Following the execution of Tsar Nicholas II and his family, the tiara's whereabouts were unknown for several decades. In 1998, the Romanov nuptial tiara resurfaced when it was offered for auction by Sotheby's in Geneva. The tiara was purchased by an anonymous buyer for a then-record price of over $2.5 million, setting a new benchmark for Romanov imperial jewels. The current owner and location of the Romanov nuptial tiara have not been publicly disclosed. The tiara's rediscovery and sale at auction have generated significant interest and speculation among collectors, historians, and the public. The Romanov nuptial tiara remains one of the most iconic and valuable royal jewels associated with the ill-fated Romanov dynasty. 1. The Napoleonic Tiara, also known as the Napoleon Tiara, is a significant piece of papal regalia with a rich historical background. Here are some key points about this fascinating artifact. The tiara was a gift from Napoleon Bonaparte to Pope Pius VII. It was presented to the Pope in 1804. In the context of Napoleon's coronation as Emperor of the French, this tiara is distinctively ornate, featuring 3 crowns, which symbolize the Pope's triple authority as Father of Kings, Governor of the World, and Vicar of Christ. The design includes gold, silver, and precious stones, making it a striking representation of the papal office. The presentation of the tiara by Napoleon was a significant political gesture. It was part of the complex relationship between the French state and the Catholic Church during Napoleon's reign. By gifting the tiara, Napoleon sought to strengthen his alliance with the Pope and legitimize his rule in the eyes of the Catholic faithful. The Napoleonic tiara was used in various papal ceremonies and has been an important symbol of the papal office. However, it is not the only papal tiara. There are several others with different historical backgrounds and designs. This ornate diamond tiara was commissioned by Napoleon I for his wife Empress Josephine. It went missing after the fall of the French Empire in the 19th century. The Napoleonic tiara remains a potent symbol of the intertwining of religious and political power in European history, reflecting the complexity of the relationship between the papacy and secular rulers.